So let me get
And
this
one day-
straight. Nikki Bella returns
Oh,
to
what a
WWE
sell, dude.
after years away.
What a
Gets
sell.
one of the loudest
Oh,
pops of the
sick.
night. Saves Stephanie Vacker
Oh,
from a
she really
beatdown.
rocked?
And what does she do?
Oh.
She destroys the woman she just saved right now. And before you WWE fanboys come at me in the comments saying it's just a storyline or you don't understand the business, save it, because what happened on Monday Night Raw isn't just about a heel turn. It's about WWE once again taking the easy route, the lazy route, and expecting us to eat it up like we haven't seen this exact same playbook 1,000 times before. But here's what really gets me heated, what really makes my blood boil about this whole situation, and trust me, we're going to dig deep into this because by the time this video is over, you're going to see this entire situation in a completely different light. They brought back one of the most recognizable faces in women's wrestling history, someone who has been radio silent from WWE programming, someone who the fans have been begging to see return, and instead of building it properly, instead of giving us a moment that actually means something, they rush it. They throw it away in one segment. And you know what the worst part is? Some of you are going to defend it. Some of you are already typing your angry responses telling me I'm wrong. And that's exactly why WWE keeps doing this to us. They know we'll argue about it. They know we'll debate it. They know we'll share it and comment and make it trend. And in their minds, that's all that matters anymore. But let me ask you something. When was the last time WWE gave us a return that was actually built up properly? When was the last time they took their time with the storyline, let it breathe, let it develop organically, and gave us a payoff that felt earned? I'll wait, because I'm struggling to think of one in recent memory. Everything now is about the instant pop, the quick viral moment, the screenshot that's going to dominate Twitter for 3 hours before everyone moves on to the next thing. And that's not wrestling. That's not storytelling. That's just content creation for the sake of content creation. Let's break down what actually happened here, because the details matter. And there's so much more to unpack than what you saw on your TV screen. Roxanne Perez is standing in the ring cutting a promo. And let's be real, Perez has been absolutely on fire lately. This woman has been carrying NXT on her back, putting on banger after banger, establishing herself as one of the most talented wrestlers in the entire company regardless of brand. She's cocky, she's confident, she's got that edge that makes you want to see her get her comeuppance, but also respect the hell out of her work. She's doing her thing as the NXT Women's Champion, talking her trash, when Stephanie Vacker comes out to confront her. Now, for those who don't know, Stephanie Vacker is a massive signing for WWE. This woman was tearing it up in CMLL and winning championships, stealing shows, building a reputation as one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet. We snatched her up, brought her to NXT, and the expectation was that she was going to be a major player immediately. So having her come out to challenge Perez makes perfect sense. These are two women at the absolute top of their game. Two women who could main event WrestleMania if given the chance. Two women who represent the future of WWE's women's division. They start going back and forth, and you can feel the tension building. The crowd is eating it up. Social media is already buzzing. This is good television. This is what we tune in for. And then, as expected in WWE's world, the confrontation turns physical. Perez attacks Vacker, and not just a little shove or a slap, I'm talking a full-on assault. She's beating Vacker down, stomping her, throwing her into the corners, just absolutely demolishing her. And the crowd is booing. They want to see Vacker fight back. They want to see justice. They want a hero to make the save. And then the music hits. Not just any music, Nikki Bella's music. And I need you to understand what this moment meant to people. For fans who grew up watching the Bella Twins, for women who saw Nikki and Brie as pioneers who helped pave the way for the women's revolution, for little girls who wore Bella Army shirts to school, this was everything. The crowd erupts like they just won the lottery. I'm talking goosebumps. I'm talking tears. I'm talking people jumping out of their seats and screaming at their televisions. Parents are grabbing their kids, pointing at the screen, saying, "That's Nikki Bella. That's who I used to watch." Longtime fans are standing on their feet with their hands on their heads in disbelief. Social media is about to explode because this is the return everyone's been waiting for. Nikki storms down that ramp and she looks incredible. She's in full gear. She's got that fire in her eyes. She looks like she never left. She slides into the ring like she owns the place. And Roxanne Perez, for all her bravado, knows she needs to get out of there. Perez bails to the outside, backing up the ramp, and Nikki is standing in the ring, looking like the hero WWE has been lacking. The place is going absolutely nuclear. The chants are deafening. This is a WrestleMania-level moment happening on a random Raw, and everyone knows they're witnessing something special. Stephanie Vacker is down in the corner, clutching her ribs, clearly hurt from the attack. Nikki walks over to her, and you can see it in her body language. She's checking on her. She's helping her up. She's being the veteran, the legend, the woman who's been there and done that, coming to aid the next generation. Vacker looks up at Nikki, and you can see it in her eyes. She's starstruck, she's grateful, she's emotional. This is a woman she probably watched growing up, a woman she probably idolized. and now that woman just saved her from a brutal beat. This is pure, beautiful storytelling. This is what wrestling is supposed to be. Nikki helps Vacker to her feet, and the crowd is showering them with applause. The commentators are putting it over huge, talking about respect and legacy and the sisterhood of the women's division. Everything is perfect. Everything is going exactly how it should. And then Nikki Bella picks up the Women's World Championship belt that fell during the chaos. Now, let me paint you a picture of what's going through everyone's mind at this exact moment. We've all been trained by years of WWE programming to know what comes next. We know the patterns. We know that when someone picks up a championship belt that doesn't belong to them, there's a 99% chance they're about to use it as a weapon. But even knowing that, even with our cynical, jaded wrestling fan brains telling us what's coming, we're still hoping. We're praying that maybe, just maybe, WWE is going to surprise us. Maybe Nikki's going to hand the belt to Vacker with a smile. Maybe she's going to raise Vacker's hand in a show of solidarity. Maybe she's going to grab a microphone and cut a promo about how proud she is of the new generation. How women like Vacker are the future. How she's here to help elevate them to even greater heights. Maybe, for once, WWE is going to give us something wholesome, something genuine, something that doesn't involve a betrayal. But deep down, we all know. Wham. The sound of that championship belt connecting with Stephanie Vacker's skull echoes through the arena like a gunshot. For a split second, there's complete silence. The crowd can't process what they just saw. Their hero, their legend, the woman who just made this triumphant return, just committed one of the most cowardly acts in wrestling. Vacker crumples to the mat like a sack of bricks. She's out cold. And Nikki Bella is standing over her body with this look on her face, this smirk, this expression that says, yeah, I did that, and I don't care what you think. She picks up the microphone, and you can hear the boos starting to build. They're not at full volume yet because people are still in shock, still trying to reconcile what they just witnessed with what they thought was going to happen. And then Nikki speaks. For words that will define this moment, for better or worse, your bad bitch is back. The arena explodes with boos. Not the fun, heel heat kind of boos. The genuine, we feel betrayed kind of boos. The you just ruined our childhood kind of boos. Nikki drops the mic, steps over Vacker's unconscious body like it's trash, and walks up the ramp with her arms raised like she just won the main event of WrestleMania. The commentators are selling their shock. The camera zooms in on Vacker's devastated face. Nikki disappears through the curtain. And that's it. That's the segment. That's the big return. Beginning, middle, and end in less than 10 minutes. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is where I need you to pay close attention because this reveals everything wrong with modern WWE storytelling. Within minutes of this happening, hashtag Nikki Bella is trending #1 in the United States. Not number 5, not top 10. Number 1, not just in wrestling circles, not just among WWE fans, but across all of social media. Twitter is absolutely melting down with hot takes. Instagram is flooded with clips and screenshots. TikTok is going insane with reaction videos. Facebook groups are having full-scale wars in the comments. Reddit threads are getting thousands of upvotes in real time. Every wrestling news site on the planet is scrambling to get their articles published, their YouTube videos uploaded, their podcasts recorded. The engagement numbers are astronomical. Views, shares, comments, retweets, everything is through the ROOF. And you know what happened in WWE headquarters when they saw those numbers? They high-fived each other. They popped champagne bottles. They looked at those analytics and said, see, it worked. The fans love it. They're eating it up. They can't stop talking about it. We did our job. Mission accomplished. Because in the modern era of professional wrestling, that's all that matters anymore. Not quality, not storytelling, not character development or emotional investment or logical progression. Just did it trend? Did it get clicks? Did it generate buzz? If yes, then it was successful, regardless of whether it was actually good or made any sense or served the long-term health of the product. But here's my question, and this is what I want you to think about. Are we really talking about this because we love it? Are we sharing these clips and writing these comments because we're excited and entertained and can't wait to see what happens next? Or are we talking about it because we're confused, because we're frustrated, because we're disappointed, because we feel like we just got played, because we're genuinely trying to figure out what the hell WWE was thinking? There's a massive difference between good heat and bad heat, between engagement that comes from excitement and engagement that comes from anger. But WWE doesn't seem to care about that distinction anymore. To them, a trending topic is a trending topic. A view is a view. A comment is a comment. It doesn't matter if people are praising them or destroying them, as long as people are talking about them. And that's such a cynical, short-sighted way to book a wrestling show. Think about Nikki Bella's entire career trajectory. Think about what she's represented for the last decade plus. She came into WWE as one half of the Bella twins. And yeah, initially they were hired more for their looks than their wrestling ability. Let's be honest about that. But over the years, Nikki transformed herself into a legitimate worker. She improved in the ring. She developed character depth. She became someone the crowd actually cared about, not just as eye candy, but as a competitor. She held the Divas Championship for an eternity, back when that actually meant something. She was part of the transition period between the Divas era and the Women's Revolution. She put in the work. And beyond that, beyond her in-ring career, Nikki became a role model. She and Brie built a brand around female empowerment. Total Divas showed millions of viewers that women in WWE weren't just models playing wrestlers. They were real people with real lives and real dreams. Nikki became an ambassador for the company, appearing on talk shows, doing charity work, representing WWE in mainstream media. She talked constantly about lifting other women up, about being a positive influence, about using her platform to inspire young girls to be confident and strong and chase their dreams. The Bella Twins brand has been all about empowerment, about women supporting women, about breaking barriers in a male-dominated industry. They created the Bella Army, a fan base built on positivity and they wrote books about their journey. They launched businesses celebrating women. Every single thing Nikki has done in recent years has been about being a role model. And I'm not saying she can't play a heel. I'm not saying villains don't have a place in wrestling. Some of the greatest characters in WWE history have been heels. But where is the story here? Where is the motivation? Why does Nikki Bella suddenly hate Stephanie Vaquer? Why does she hate her so much that 30 seconds after saving her life, she's willing to potentially end her career with a championship belt to the skull? What happened in those 30 seconds that turned Nikki from hero to villain? What's the psychology? What's the reasoning? What's the character development? The answer, and this is what's so infuriating, is that there isn't one. There's no reason, there's no logic, there's no build-up, no foreshadowing, no hints that this was coming. There's no long-term storytelling plan. It's just surprise return equals instant shock value equals instant heel turn equals instant buzz equals mission accomplished. And we're supposed to just accept it, not ask questions, turn our brains off, and move on to whatever's next. But I'm not doing that. I refuse to accept that this is the best that a billion-dollar company with dozens of writers and creative minds can come up with, because this could have been incredible. This could have been one of the best storylines of the year. Imagine if they had actually taken their time with it. Imagine if Nikki came back and saved Stephanie Vaquer, and then we got weeks of them working together, building a relationship, becoming friends. Maybe they team up to take on Roxanne Perez and whoever her partner is. Maybe Nikki takes Vaquer under her wing as a mentor. Maybe we get backstage segments of them training together, having heart-to-heart, with Nikki imparting her wisdom to this talented young star from another country trying to make it in WWE. Imagine the promos we could have gotten. Imagine Nikki talking about how she sees so much of her younger self in Imagine Vaquer talking about how much Nikki means to her, how she's living her dream getting to work with one of her idols. Imagine them winning matches together, celebrating together, creating moments that make the audience invest in their partnership. Build it up for 2 months, 3 months, however long it takes. Make us believe in their friendship. Make us care. And then, after we've had time to really connect with them, after we've bought into their relationship completely, after we're emotionally invested in seeing them succeed together, then you have Nikki turn on her. Maybe Vaquer wins a big match and in the celebration gets too much spotlight. Maybe Nikki feels overlooked or disrespected. Maybe jealousy creeps in. Maybe Vaquer accidentally costs Nikki a big opportunity. Give us a reason. Give us something we can point to and say, okay, I understand why she did that, even if I don't agree with it. That would have meant something. That would have hurt. That would have been a betrayal that we actually felt in our guts. That would have been a moment that people remembered for years. That gets brought up in documentary packages and anniversary shows as one of the great heel turns in WWE history. Right up there with Seth Rollins turning on The Shield or Batista turning on Rey Mysterio. But instead, we get the fast food version, the instant gratification version, the microwave dinner version of wrestling storytelling. No setup, no development, no earned payoff. Just straight to the shocking moment because shocking moments get tweets and clips and reactions. And yeah, it's trending. Yeah, everyone's talking about it right now, in this very moment. But I guarantee you, and you can hold me to this, in 6 months, maybe even 6 weeks, nobody's going to remember this the way they remember truly great wrestling moments. It'll just be another example of WWE doing what WWE does, taking the path of least resistance and hoping we're too distracted by the next surprise return or celebrity, cameo, or pointless authority figure storyline to notice or care. It'll be lost in the shuffle of all the other shock value moments that WWE has conditioned us to expect every single week. And let's talk about that catchphrase for a second, because I haven't even fully addressed how ridiculous your bad bitch is back sounds as a defining statement for a legend returning to WWE. Really? That's the big line. That's what's supposed to send chills down our spines and make this moment iconic. And you know what else bothers me? The complete lack of regard for Stephanie Vaquer in all of this. Here's a woman who WWE just signed, who they're supposedly trying to build up as a major star, who has all the talent in the world, And what's her role in this story? She's a prop, she's a victim. She exists solely to be the person Nikki Bella attacks so that Nikki can get her moment. Vacker doesn't get to show her personality or her character or why we should care about her. She's just there to take the hit and lie on the mat looking devastated. That's not how you build new stars. That's not how you create the next generation of talent that's going to carry your company for the next decade. That's how you sacrifice young talent on the altar of nostalgia and short-term thinking. Look, I get it. Wrestling is subjective. What I hate, someone else might absolutely love. What seems lazy and formulaic to me might seem like genius storytelling to someone else. There are probably people watching this video right now getting ready to tell me I'm being too critical, that I'm overthinking it, that I should just enjoy the show and stop analyzing everything to death. And you know what? That's fair. You're entitled to your opinion. But we have to be able to have these conversations. We have to be able to critically examine what WWE is doing and ask whether it's actually good for the long-term health of the product. We have to hold them accountable for lazy storytelling and short-term thinking, because if we don't, if we just accept whatever they give us and make it trend anyway and act like everything is always amazing, then what incentive do they have to ever do better? What incentive do they have to put in the extra effort to craft compelling, logical, emotionally resonant storylines when they can just do shock value returns with no build-up and get the same result? This is bigger than just Nikki Bella. This is about a pattern that's been developing in WWE for years now. Everything is about the moment. Everything is about the pop. Everything is about generating content for social media. Long-term storytelling has taken a backseat to short-term viral moments. Character development has been replaced by surprise returns and shocking turns. And the worst part is that it works from a business perspective. It gets the engagement numbers. It trends on Twitter. It generates the clips and the articles and the discussion. So from WWE's point of view, why change? Why put in the extra work when the quick and easy approach gets you the same metrics? But here's what they're missing. Those metrics don't tell the whole story. They don't capture the frustration and disappointment that longtime fans feel. They don't measure the erosion of trust that happens every time WWE does something that feels cheap or unearned. They don't account for the fans who slowly drift away because they're tired of being told that moments matter more than stories. And I want to be clear about something. I'm not some bitter old-school fan who thinks everything modern WWE does is terrible, and everything from the Attitude Era was perfect. That's not what this is about. There's tons of great stuff happening in WWE right now. The wrestling is better than it's ever been. The roster is stacked with incredible talent. There are storylines and characters that I genuinely love and get excited about every week. But that doesn't mean we can't call out the bad stuff when we see it. That doesn't mean we have to pretend everything is perfect and that there's no room for improvement. Constructive criticism is how things get better. Holding companies accountable is how we ensure they don't take us for granted. So here's what I want from you, and this is genuinely important to me. I want to hear your real thoughts in the comments. Not just this was awesome or this sucked. I want to know why you feel the way you feel. Do you think this Nikki Bella heel turn was brilliant or was it lazy? Are you genuinely excited to see where this story goes, or are you already over it and ready to move on to the next thing? Do you think there's actually a plan here? Some kind of long-term vision that's going to make this all make sense in retrospect? Or do you think they just did this for the shock value and the trending topic and they'll figure out the rest later? And most importantly, do you think WWE is actually listening to fan feedback anymore? Or are they so focused on analytics and metrics and social media engagement that our actual opinions don't really matter as long as we're talking about it? Because that's what this really comes down to. That's the real conversation we need to have as a wrestling community. Are we okay with this direction? Are we fine with surprise returns that have no substance or setup? Are we content with shock value replacing actual storytelling? Are we happy with characters making decisions that don't make sense just because it creates a viral moment? Because if we just keep accepting whatever they give us and making it trend anyway and acting like we're satisfied, then WWE has no reason to change course. But if we're not okay with it, if we want better, if we want WWE to put in the effort to create compelling long-term stories with real character development and emotional payoffs, then we need to make our voices heard. We need to engage with this content critically, not just react. We need to demand better and show WWE that we notice the difference between good storytelling and lazy shortcuts. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know, because we need to get this conversation going across the entire community. Tag WWE in your comments. Tag wrestling journalists and podcasts. Let's make this trend. Not just the shock value moment, but the actual discussion about what we want from our wrestling programming. Let's hold WWE accountable for the stories they tell and the way they treat their characters and their audience. And hit that subscribe button if you want more unfiltered, honest wrestling talk that doesn't just praise everything blindly, but actually analyzes what we're watching and asks the tough questions. Because at the end of the day, we all love this business. We all want it to be as good as it can possibly be. And the only way that happens is if we care enough to speak up when we see something that falls short of that standard. I'll see you in the next one where we're going to break down exactly what WWE should do next with this storyline if they actually want it to mean something beyond just a trending topic that everyone forgets about in 2 weeks.